Your own manager wrote not so long ago that for 22 years, when you were with a major label, you'd, to use his word, been shackled to the label. You've now signed a very different deal with a different label, and you appear to have much greater freedom. But were you, for a while, you know, almost told how to present yourself, how to look? Was that part of the deal, the shackles?
Oh, they would try. Oh, sure. Some of them would.
And what would they try to do to you?
Well, when you're signed to a contract, if you want to leave and they don't want to release you, they can just shelve you and you can sit there and rot. You cannot leave. And that's very important to understand. If they have the option, then you just sit there on the shelf. And so that has happened to many artists. So you have to play a very, very different chess game. And I've had many battles. There have been good people within the industry helping to fight my battles. Some of them quietly maneuver here and there so they don't get fired. And then, of course, there are others. I've made some enemies, that's for sure. But I haven't gotten to this place of 10 albums with creative control. It wasn't handed to me. I've had to fight every step of the way.
And now, of course, the business has changed so much because of the internet. And there's a real question mark about whether, in the future, you can make real money out of recorded music with illegal downloads, people getting music for free. Do you think you can, or is the future of making your living in music all about touring and live performance?
Well, it relies, I think, on consciousness. I really do. It has to get to the public where they think, all right, listening to a song is like a wine tasting. So I can taste the wine, I can decide if I like it or not, but you don't go then take a bottle and put it in your bag. And I think if you begin to realize that that's what it's becoming, and some of the artists that you really love, if you don't support it, if you don't support the vineyards you like or the art you like, then they're not going to be able to continue making that art. Not in that way. Touring is a very different side of the business, but a lot of the deals that people are signing right now are called 360 deals.
Which means?
360 deal means that if I'm a new artist and I sign to a label, then they want a piece of my touring, they want a piece of my publishing as a songwriter, and they want a piece of my merchandising. And sometimes only the t-shirt sales, is what an artist gets off the road, because the touring can be so expensive, depending on their production, that they're not making money off the tickets because they've got to pay for the production. So all they get are their t-shirts. So if the record label takes that, don't you see?
Well, I get a sense of your anger about the way the business has worked for a long time.
And is working.
But I just wonder in the end whether you've gotten too involved in this. I mean, if you get too uptight about it, and if you spend too much time planning out your own way to merchandise and make money off of everything that goes with Tori Amos, are you able to be creative?
Well, I think having 10 albums, I'm pretty prolific. I'm fine with that. I think if you don't decide to stand up and do the right thing for yourself, then you're just going to be working for one of these huge corporations. And they'll absorb you, Stephen. They have no problem absorbing you. And it's not, they're not going to sit and say, oh, Stephen, we have morality issues taking your t-shirt money. No, they don't. And they're saying, look, we have to survive too. I mean, they would say, how can you expect us to put all this money in a new artist? Where are we going to get our return if everybody's stealing money? So they can justify it to themselves. But I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to be a new artist today. I think it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah, and it's interesting because from the very beginning, in the introduction, I talked about you being determined to fight your battles. And we've sort of heard about the battles you fought as a child against sort of the church that some members of your family were trying to sort of inculcate you with. And we've talked about the sexual battles you feel women have had to fight to be empowered. We've heard about these battles with the record company. What about a different kind of battle, political battles? You referred to yourself as being political. You were very anti-Bush, weren't you?
I was.
Do you think that was easy or even the right thing to do from your base, at least part of the time in the UK? When the Dixie Chicks came here and one of the band spoke out about the shame she felt that George Bush was a Texan, she got pilloried in the United States for being unpatriotic. Do you think you were to a certain extent?
Because my audience is a more liberal and open-minded audience, they, I think, were as troubled by where the country was going as I was. However, I would say to you that I did upset certain people in the right wing that are very powerful and have a lot of control.
Who did you upset?
I know this is hard talk.
Did they?
Absolutely.
Did it intimidate you?
You have to figure if you're going to write about things like that, then you can't be a teenager about it. You can't be, oh, Mom, come rescue me. You have to say, okay, you're going to stir it up. You have to accept that. But I think...
But did you back off a little bit? You see, I'm thinking about the Dixie Chicks again, where the particular individual involved who had talked about this sense of shame, she ultimately issued an apology and did appear to back off. Did you alter the way you spoke out?
Oh, no, I've turned it up. If it's too loud, turn it up. Absolutely.
Obama's in power now. Does that, in a sense, mean that you've lost some of your passion for this politics? Because presumably he was the guy you voted for.
I think that, you know, there's so many different challenges that happen all the time. The fact that he's in power, I think, is very exciting. There are other things, though, that are occurring. That's one reason I have this record of Normally Attracted to Sin, because I think, you know, a lot of people, too, that voted for Obama are very religious. And as a minister's daughter, sometimes I'm concerned that people that are religious are also maybe very judgmental. Very judgmental, say, of how women think of their bodies.
You've got plenty more battles to fight.
Well, if you want emancipation for women and for all people, freedom of the soul,
then the fight goes on.
Then it goes on.